What if the life you're living right now, the job, the income, the relationships, even the stress you carry, isn't random at all? What if there is a pattern behind it, a law, a system, a force that has been quietly responding to your thoughts every single day? Have you ever typed into YouTube Law of Attraction Audiobook or searched Google for a manifestation audiobook late at night when you couldn't sleep because your mind was racing with worries about money, career, or your future? Have you wondered if a The Secret audiobook summary could actually reveal something real, something practical, something that could change your financial situation or finally explain the law of attraction in plain English? And let me ask you something deeper. What if learning how to manifest money wasn't about luck or hustle or grinding yourself into burnout? What if law of attraction for beginners wasn't complicated at all? What if manifestation meditation wasn't mystical but scientific in the way your brain works? What if an abundance mindset was less about pretending to be positive and more about rewiring your subconscious reprogramming? Because here's the truth most people don't realize. Whether you believe in manifestation techniques or not, you are already manifesting. Let me tell you a quick story. Imagine someone, maybe it's you, who wakes up every morning already stressed. They check their bank account before they even brush their teeth. They scroll social media and see other people succeeding. They say things like, "Nothing ever works out for me," or "I'll never get ahead." Then they wonder why nothing changes. Now imagine that same person discovers something simple yet powerful. They begin practicing positive thinking for success. They start visualizing outcomes instead of worrying about them. They try a short manifestation meditation before work. They speak differently. They think differently. And slowly, not magically, but predictably, opportunities start showing up. Conversations change. Confidence grows. Income increases. Coincidence? Or law of attraction explained in real life? This audiobook is about that shift, the shift from reacting to life to creating it. The ancient principle of manifestation isn't new. It didn't start on YouTube. It didn't begin with motivational speakers. It has been whispered through centuries, understood by powerful thinkers, innovators, and leaders who realized something extraordinary. Your inner world shapes your outer world. And yet, most people struggle. Why? Because they focus on what they don't want. They think about debt instead of wealth. They think about rejection instead of love. They repeat old stories instead of creating new ones. They try to manifest anything while emotionally rehearsing failure. It's like placing an online order and then canceling it every 5 minutes. The universe must be thinking, "So, do you want it or not?" That's where manifestation motivation truly begins. Clarity. Over the next 100 minutes, you're going to hear the core principles behind manifestation for wealth, relationships, health, and personal power. You'll understand how your thoughts act like signals. You'll learn practical manifestation techniques you can apply in your career, your business, and your daily mindset. You'll discover how to manifest anything by aligning belief, emotion, and action. And no, this isn't about sitting on your couch waiting for a check to fall from the sky. If that worked, we'd all be billionaires in sweatpants. This is about becoming internally aligned so that your actions carry power. It's about building an abundance mindset so strong that doubt has no permanent address in your head. It's about law of attraction success stories not being other people's miracles, but your future evidence. Think about this. What would your life look like if you truly believed you could attract opportunities? How would you speak differently in meetings? How would you show up in relationships? How would you invest your time? Because when your subconscious reprogramming shifts, your behavior shifts. And when your behavior shifts, results follow. This introduction isn't just information, it's an invitation. An invitation to test these ideas, to question your old limitations, to move from skepticism to experimentation. You don't have to blindly believe, you just have to be willing. Willing to monitor your thoughts, willing to practice emotional alignment, willing to replace fear with possibility. As we begin this journey of awakening the manifestation mindset, set one simple intention in your mind. This knowledge will change my life. Say it again, not because it sounds nice, but because repetition plants seeds. This knowledge will change my life. Because if the law of attraction responds to thought and thought shapes reality, then right now, in this moment, you are already beginning to manifest a new chapter. And by the end of this audio, you won't just understand how to manifest money, success, love, and purpose. You'll understand how to manifest a new version of yourself. And that's where everything truly begins. Take a deep breath for a second and just consider this. What if there is a law operating in your life right now as precise as gravity, as constant as the sunrise, and as neutral as mathematics, responding to every thought you think, not judging you, not rewarding or punishing you, just responding? That's the foundation of the law of attraction. Like attracts like. Simple, direct, unemotional, and incredibly powerful. Now, when people first hear law of attraction explained, they often imagine something mystical, maybe a little woo-woo, like the universe is sitting somewhere taking notes on your vision board. But let's break this down logically. You already understand attraction in physical terms. Gravity attracts mass. Magnets attract metal. Wi-Fi signals attract devices tuned to the same frequency. Nobody argues with Wi-Fi. You don't see it, but you trust it enough to stream movies on it. The law of attraction operates in a similar way, but instead of devices, it works with thoughts and energy. Here's where it gets real. Thoughts are not just abstract ideas floating around in your head. Every thought triggers a biochemical reaction in your brain. That reaction produces emotion. That emotion influences behavior. That behavior produces results. So when we say thoughts are frequencies, we're not being poetic, we're being accurate. Every thought carries a vibration, and your emotional state is the indicator of that vibration. Think of yourself as a living transmission tower. You're not just receiving information from the world, you're constantly broadcasting. If you wake up thinking, I'm behind, I'm stressed, nothing works out for me, you're broadcasting scarcity, fear, and doubt. And because like attracts like, you begin noticing more situations that confirm those feelings. Missed opportunities, financial stress, awkward conversations. It feels like bad luck, but it's actually alignment. On the flip side, when you intentionally practice positive thinking for success, not fake positivity, but deliberate, focused, emotionally charged belief, your brain starts filtering for different opportunities. You take different actions. You speak differently in meetings. You notice ideas that were always there but invisible before. The universe doesn't need to magically rearrange itself. You changed frequency, so you changed experience. Let's ground this with someone you've probably heard of. Jim Carrey famously wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered years before he became a major Hollywood star, dated it 5 years into the future, and carried it in his wallet. That wasn't random optimism. That was visualization combined with belief and emotional rehearsal. In those years, he kept showing up, auditioning, refining his craft, holding that mental image steady. Eventually, he landed roles that paid him exactly that amount. Did the universe drop it from the sky? No, but his mindset aligned his behavior, persistence, and opportunities toward that reality. Another example is Oprah Winfrey, who has spoken repeatedly about practicing gratitude and visualization long before mainstream culture embraced the law of attraction. Growing up in poverty, she didn't mentally rehearse limitation, she imagined possibility. She focused on service, impact, and growth. That emotional alignment shaped her decisions, relationships, and risks. Over time, that internal vision translated into one of the most influential media empires in the world. What these stories illustrate isn't magic, it's alignment. Thoughts lead to emotions. Emotions influence actions. Actions generate outcomes. Thoughts lead to emotions, lead to reality. That chain is the engine of manifestation. Now, here's where responsibility comes in, and this is the part some people resist. If the law of attraction is always working, then it's working even when we don't like the results. That doesn't mean you blame yourself for everything. Life includes unpredictable events. But it does mean you reclaim your power. If your thoughts are shaping your experience, then you are not a victim of random fate. You are a participant in creation. That realization can feel heavy at first. Wait, so I've been attracting my own stress? Maybe, but that also means you can attract something better, and that's empowering. Let's make this practical. Imagine two job candidates walking into the same interview. One is thinking, I hope I don't mess this up, I'm not as qualified as other people. The other is thinking, I bring value, I'm prepared, this is a conversation, not a test. Who speaks more confidently? Who connects better? Who likely gets the offer? Same environment, different internal broadcast, different outcome. When you understand that you are a human transmission tower, you begin managing your signal. You start catching negative thought loops earlier. You ask, what am I focusing on right now? Because whatever you focus on expands in your awareness. That's not philosophy, that's neuroscience. The brain's reticular activating system filters information based on what you repeatedly think about. If you focus on opportunities, you literally see more of them. And this is where manifestation techniques become grounded in daily life. You don't need to sit on a mountaintop. You start by observing your emotional state. If you feel anxious, pause and ask what thought created that emotion. Shift the thought deliberately. Practice gratitude. Visualize a desired outcome with sensory detail. Speak as if progress is happening. Over time, those shifts compound. One of the biggest misunderstandings about the law of attraction is thinking it replaces action. It doesn't. It directs action. It makes your effort efficient instead of desperate. When your internal belief aligns with your goal, you move with clarity instead of panic. And clarity is powerful. So here's the inspirational truth at the heart of this chapter. You are not just reacting to life. You are influencing it every single day through your dominant thoughts and emotions. Whether you want to manifest money, better relationships, career success, or simply peace of mind, the foundation remains the same. Align your thoughts with what you desire. Feel the emotion of already moving toward it, and allow your actions to flow from that state. The law of attraction is not something you turn on, it's something you become aware of. And once you truly understand it, you stop accidentally manifesting fear and start intentionally manifesting possibility. You are a living magnet. You are a broadcasting tower. You are participating in creation whether you realize it or not. And when you fully accept that, not casually, but deeply, something shifts. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I sending out? That single question can change the direction of your life, because once you master your signal, you begin to master your results. And that's where real manifestation begins.
Let's start with something that might surprise you. You are thinking roughly 60,000 thoughts a day. Some researchers say a little less, some say more, but here's the point. Your mind is talking almost nonstop. From the moment you wake up, I'm tired, I don't feel like going to work, did I send that email? To the moment your head hits the pillow, there's an internal narrator running commentary on everything. And here's the kicker. Most of those thoughts are repetitive. Same worries, same doubts, same mental loops. Now, if the law of attraction responds to dominant thoughts and your dominant thoughts are on autopilot, then you can see the problem. You're manifesting by default. That's the 60,000 thoughts problem. Most people don't intentionally choose their thoughts. They inherit them from past experiences, family beliefs, news cycles, social media, and old failures. If you failed once at starting a business, your brain might replay, "See, it's risky, it won't work." If you went through a breakup, you might unconsciously rehearse, "People always leave." And without realizing it, those thoughts become instructions to your emotional system. Monitoring thoughts feels hard at first because thinking is automatic. It's like trying to notice your breathing. You don't usually pay attention to it until someone tells you to. And the moment you try to control every thought, you'll probably get frustrated. If you've ever tried meditation and ended up thinking about your grocery list, your emails, and what you're going to eat later, you know exactly what I mean. But here's the key shift. You don't have to control every thought. You only have to manage your dominant emotional direction. Feelings are the shortcut. Your emotions are like the dashboard lights in your car. You don't need to understand every mechanical detail under the hood. You just need to notice when the warning light turns on. If you feel anxious, discouraged, irritated, or hopeless, that emotion is telling you something about your current thought pattern. The law of attraction doesn't respond to occasional random thoughts. It responds to consistent emotional energy. So instead of obsessively trying to stop negative thoughts, which, let's be honest, sometimes makes them louder, you start by checking in with how you feel. Think of your emotional guidance system as built-in GPS. When you're thinking thoughts aligned with your desires, you feel hopeful, motivated, creative, inspired. When you're thinking thoughts aligned with fear or lack, you feel heavy, tense, defensive. The emotion is the indicator. it's feedback. Let's say you want to manifest financial abundance. If you're constantly thinking, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to struggle, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, your focus is still on lack. That's the don't want trap. The law of attraction doesn't filter grammar. It doesn't hear don't. It responds to the emotional picture behind the words. If I tell you don't think about a pink elephant, what just happened? Exactly. The mind moves towards the image, not the negation. So when you say, I don't want debt, your mind visualizes debt. When you say, I don't want to be single, your mind focuses on loneliness. That emotional rehearsal keeps broadcasting the very frequency you're trying to avoid. This is why mastering your thoughts is practical and essential. It's not about blind positivity. It's about intentional redirection. Instead of, I don't want to be broke, shift to, I am building financial stability. Instead of, I hope I don't fail, shift to, I am learning and improving every day. The emotional tone changes, and when the emotional tone changes, your decisions shift. Take Will Smith, who has openly spoken about visualizing success long before he became one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors. He didn't rehearse failure. He imagined sold-out shows, blockbuster films, and global recognition. That consistent mental rehearsal shaped his confidence and work ethic. He wasn't just hoping, he was aligning his identity with the outcome he wanted. Over time, his internal belief system influenced his external results. Another powerful example is Serena Williams, who has talked about visualizing winning matches before stepping onto the court. She didn't wait to feel confident after victory. She practiced the feeling of victory beforehand. That emotional alignment helped her perform under pressure because her mind had already rehearsed success. This is not coincidence. It's cognitive conditioning aligned with the law of attraction. Now let's get practical. If you want to master your thoughts for powerful manifestation, start with a simple daily awareness technique. Set 3 mental checkpoints in your day: morning, midday, and evening. When the checkpoint hits, pause and ask yourself one question. What have I been feeling most of the last few hours? Not what you've been doing, what you've been feeling. If the answer is stressed, rushed, annoyed, or doubtful, trace it back. What thought created that? Maybe it was, I'll never catch up. Good. Now you've identified the signal. Replace it intentionally with a thought that feels slightly better, not wildly unrealistic. If I'm completely successful feels fake, try I'm making progress. That subtle shift is enough to move your emotional needle. Another practical tool is scripting. At night, write 1 page describing your ideal day as if it already happened. Not fantasy, detailed, constructive success. Today, I felt confident in my presentation. My ideas were received well. I handled challenges calmly. This trains your subconscious reprogramming. It teaches your brain to expect constructive outcomes instead of defaulting to fear. And yes, it will feel awkward at first. Your old mental habits will argue back. That's normal. You're rewiring patterns that may have been running for decades. Remember, the goal is not perfection, it's direction. When you catch yourself in the don't want trap, smile at it. Don't beat yourself up, just redirect. When you notice fear, don't panic. Just ask, what do I actually want? Shift focus from avoidance to creation. Because here's the empowering truth. Whatever you consistently think about grows in your awareness and influences your behavior. When you focus on opportunity, you act more courageously. When you focus on appreciation, you attract more to appreciate. When you focus on growth, you expand. You are not powerless against your mind. You are its trainer. And the more you practice mental discipline, the more you realize something powerful. Your thoughts are tools, not masters. You can choose which ones to strengthen. So, as you move forward from this chapter, don't aim to control 60,000 thoughts. Aim to guide your emotional direction. Use your feelings as feedback. Escape the don't want trap. Shift focus from fear to desire. Practice daily awareness. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your frequency. When you master your frequency, you influence your reality. And when you realize that your inner dialogue is shaping your outer world, you stop drifting through life and start deliberately manifesting it. That's not hype, that's discipline. And discipline aligned with belief becomes power.
Now we arrive at the actionable core, the part everyone searches for when they type how to manifest anything or law of attraction step by step into YouTube at 2 a.m. This is where the philosophy turns into a formula. Simple, direct, powerful. Ask, believe, receive. It sounds almost too easy, right? 3 words. But when applied correctly, this is where manifestation shifts from wishful thinking to intentional creation. Let's begin with ask. Most people think they're asking for what they want, but they're actually broadcasting what they don't want. I don't want to struggle anymore. I don't want this job. I don't want to be alone. That's not clarity. That's frustration. And the law of attraction responds to clarity. Asking is about specificity. If you walked into a restaurant and said, I don't want anything spicy, I don't want anything cold, I don't want anything expensive, the waiter would stare at you like, okay, but what do you actually want? The universe works the same way. Vague desires produce vague results. Clarity activates focus. Instead of, I want more money, define it. How much? By when? Through what type of work or opportunity? Instead of, I want to be happy, define what happiness looks like. Is it freedom? Is it meaningful relationships? Is it creative expression? Writing intentions is powerful because it moves desire from imagination into definition. When you write something down, your brain begins organizing around it. You start noticing resources, conversations, and opportunities connected to it. It's not magic. It's attention directing behavior. When Arnold Schwarzenegger first came to America, he didn't say, I hope I do okay. He had crystal clarity. He wanted to become the greatest bodybuilder in the world, then transition into Hollywood. He visualized it. He spoke about it as inevitable. That clarity shaped his decisions, his training discipline, and his networking. The outcome followed the defined intention. Ask is about planting the seed, but planting isn't enough. Step 2 is believe. This is where most people sabotage themselves. Belief is not passive wishing. It's psychological alignment. It's acting as if the outcome is possible even before physical evidence appears. Let's be honest. Believing before seeing feels uncomfortable. Your logical mind will whisper, who do you think you are? Doubt shows up fast. And doubt isn't evil, it's protective. Your brain is wired to avoid disappointment, but manifestation requires training your psychology to tolerate uncertainty. Faith and doubt cannot occupy the same dominant space. One will lead. Believing means adjusting your identity. If you're manifesting financial success but still identify as bad with money, there's conflict. If you're manifesting love but still think I'm not worthy, there's resistance. Acting as if doesn't mean pretending you're already a millionaire while your bank account says otherwise. It means embodying the habits, posture, and decision-making of the version of you who has already succeeded. Jim Carrey, before becoming famous, not only wrote himself that $10 million check, he lived as though it was coming. He prepared. He auditioned relentlessly. He refined his skills. He believed deeply enough that his actions matched his vision. Belief influences behavior. Behavior influences results. And this brings us to inspired action versus forced action. Forced action feels desperate. It's hustling from fear. It's applying to 100 jobs while internally screaming, I hope someone saves me. That energy leaks into conversations. Inspired action feels aligned. It comes from clarity and confidence. You send the email because it feels right. You launch the idea because you trust your preparation. The effort feels focused, not frantic. Here's where many people get stuck. They try to control the how. They ask for the dream job, but then obsess over exactly how it must arrive. They want wealth, but insist it can only happen through one rigid path. The law of attraction works through infinite channels, but when you grip too tightly, you block alternatives. Letting go of the how is psychological flexibility. It means trusting that if you've asked clearly and aligned your belief, the path may surprise you. Opportunities often arrive through unexpected doors, a random conversation, a referral, a pivot. Think about Oprah Winfrey again. She didn't script every step of how her career would unfold. She focused on service,
impact, storytelling. The opportunities expanded beyond what she initially imagined. The how evolved. Now we arrive at receive. This is the emotional alignment piece. You cannot receive what you do not feel worthy of. You cannot attract abundance while emotionally rehearsing scarcity. Receiving is about practicing the emotional state of already having what you desire. If you want freedom, feel freedom in small moments now. If you want love, embody warmth and openness now. If you want wealth, practice gratitude for what you currently have. Gratitude is powerful because it signals sufficiency, and sufficiency attracts expansion. Your emotional state is the signal that tells the universe and your subconscious whether you're ready. Here's something practical. Every morning, before you check your phone, spend 2 minutes imagining your goal achieved, not in fantasy detail, in emotional detail. How do you stand? How do you speak? What's the feeling in your chest? Confidence? Relief? Joy? That emotional rehearsal trains your nervous system to recognize success as familiar instead of foreign. Faith and doubt psychology is simple. Whatever you emotionally rehearse more often becomes dominant. If you constantly imagine failure, your body responds with stress, and stress influences poor decisions. If you rehearse success, your body responds with confidence, and confidence improves performance. This is why athletes visualize. It's why entrepreneurs create vision boards. It's why high achievers talk about mindset. Ask with clarity. Believe with identity alignment. Receive with emotional readiness. And here's the deeper truth. This formula isn't about controlling the universe. It's about aligning yourself with possibility. When you ask clearly, you focus. When you believe fully, you move differently. When you receive emotionally, you open space. And suddenly, life starts responding. Not because you begged, not because you forced, but because you aligned. So, as you close this chapter, I want you to choose one specific desire. Write it down. Get clear. Feel it. Act as if it's unfolding. Release the timeline. Trust the process. Because manifestation isn't about hoping something changes someday. It's about becoming the version of you who is ready today. And when clarity, belief, and emotional alignment meet, results follow. That's not fantasy. That's focused creation. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Your emotions are not random. They are signals. They are indicators of your frequency. And if manifestation is about vibration, then emotional alignment is where the real work happens. Think about this. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the energy? Nobody had to say anything. You just knew. Maybe it felt tense. Maybe it felt warm. That's emotional frequency in action. We're constantly broadcasting and receiving signals through how we feel. Now here's the key idea. Emotions are the language of the law of attraction. Thoughts start the process, but feelings amplify it. If thoughts are the spark, emotions are the electricity that powers the signal. When you feel joy, gratitude, love, excitement, your frequency rises. When you feel fear, resentment, jealousy, frustration, your frequency lowers, and like attracts like. This isn't about pretending you're happy when you're not. It's about learning how to shift intentionally, because if you wait for life to change before you change how you feel, you'll stay stuck in reaction mode. But if you shift your emotional state first, you begin influencing the direction of your experience. So, let's break down emotional frequency logically. Every emotion creates a chemical response in your body. Gratitude releases dopamine and serotonin. Stress triggers cortisol. Love activates oxytocin. These chemicals influence perception, decision-making, creativity, and confidence. When you're stressed, you narrow your focus. When you're relaxed and grateful, you expand your thinking. That expansion opens possibility. That's why emotional alignment isn't just spiritual, it's neurological. Now here's where the chapter becomes practical. Rhonda Byrne talks about what she calls secret shifters. These are simple tools you can use instantly to change your emotional state. Music is one of the fastest shifters. Think about a song that instantly lifts you. Within seconds, your posture changes, your breathing shifts, you might even smile without trying. That's frequency shifting in real time. If you're in a negative spiral, don't sit there analyzing it for hours. Put on a song that changes your energy. It's not denial, it's redirection. Gratitude is another powerful shifter, and not vague gratitude like I'm grateful for stuff. I mean specific gratitude. I'm grateful for the coffee I had this morning. I'm grateful for that friend who texted me. I'm grateful my car started. The more specific you get, the more real it feels. Specific gratitude anchors emotion. Memory is another tool. Close your eyes and recall a moment when you felt proud, loved, accomplished, or peaceful. Relive it in detail. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between past memory and present experience. It recreates the emotion chemically. That's powerful. You're literally generating a higher frequency on demand. Visualization works similarly. Athletes use it constantly. Michael Phelps famously visualized every race before diving into the pool, including potential problems like goggles filling with water. When it actually happened during the 2008 Olympics, he didn't panic. He had already emotionally rehearsed success. He stayed aligned and won gold. That's emotional conditioning meeting performance. But love, though, love is the highest frequency. Not romantic drama love, not attachment. Pure appreciation, compassion, connection. When you feel genuine love for a person, for your pet, for nature, even for yourself, your emotional state rises dramatically. And when you operate from love, your actions change. You speak differently. You respond instead of react. If you want to shift your frequency quickly, ask yourself, what can I appreciate right now? Appreciation is love in motion. But let's be real. Negative spirals happen. You wake up late, you spill coffee, you check your email and see something stressful. Suddenly your whole mood drops, and if you're not aware, that mood can control the rest of your day. Here's how you recover. First, stop fighting the emotion. Resistance intensifies it. Instead of saying, I shouldn't feel this way, say, okay, I feel frustrated right now. Awareness diffuses intensity. Second, interrupt the pattern physically. Stand up, change rooms, go outside. Movement changes state. Your body and mind are connected. If you shift posture, you shift perspective. And here's a practical tool you can use anywhere. The 60-second reset method. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Close your eyes, take slow, deep breaths. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6. While breathing, think of one thing you deeply appreciate. Just one. For 60 seconds, fully focus on that feeling. It sounds simple. It is simple, but it works because you're deliberately interrupting the stress cycle and replacing it with gratitude. You don't need an hour. You need intention. Meditation is a longer version of this reset. You don't have to sit cross-legged chanting for hours. Start with 5 minutes. Focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring it back. The goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to observe without reacting. That builds emotional discipline. Visualization combined with meditation is powerful for manifestation. After calming your mind, imagine your desired outcome already happening. See it, hear it, feel it. The more sensory detail you add, the stronger the emotional alignment. Jim Carrey didn't just think about success, he emotionally rehearsed it. He felt the excitement before it arrived. That emotional consistency aligned his behavior, persistence, and openness to opportunity. Here's the deeper lesson of this chapter. You are not at the mercy of your mood. You can shift, you can choose, you can align. Emotional alignment isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing your internal state regardless of temporary circumstances. When you consistently practice shifting your frequency through music, gratitude, memory, love, breath, meditation, you become less reactive and more creative. And when you operate from a higher emotional state, you attract differently. You notice differently. You respond differently. Manifestation becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about maintaining alignment. So, the next time you feel stuck, don't panic. Don't assume you're failing. Just ask, what's my frequency right now? Then shift it. Put on the song. Write the gratitude list. Take the 60-second reset. Visualize the win. Feel love. Because your emotions are not just reactions, they are creative forces. And when you master emotional alignment, you don't just wait for life to improve. You raise your frequency, and life rises to meet you.
Let's be honest. When most people search for the law of attraction, they're not just curious about positive thinking. They're wondering, how do I manifest money? How do I create financial freedom? How do I break out of survival mode? Money is emotional. It represents security, freedom, options, dignity, impact. And because it's emotional, it's deeply connected to frequency. So let's start inspirational but grounded. Wealth is not just a number in your bank account. It's a state of consciousness. And if you don't shift the state first, the number rarely stays. There are two fundamental financial frequencies: scarcity and abundance. Scarcity says there's not enough. Abundance says there's always more. Scarcity thinks in limitation. I can't afford it. I'm behind. The economy is bad. Rich people are lucky. Abundance thinks in expansion. How can I afford? What opportunity am I missing? How can I create value? Money flows where value flows. Now here's where logic meets manifestation. Your dominant financial thoughts shape your decisions. Decisions shape results. If you constantly focus on debt, your emotional state becomes stress and fear. Stress narrows your creativity. You make reactive decisions. You avoid opportunities because they feel risky. That reinforces the scarcity loop. Why does focusing on debt attract more debt? Because attention amplifies. If every day you say, I hate my bills, I'm drowning, I'm broke, you are emotionally rehearsing lack. Your nervous system associates money with anxiety, and when money feels stressful, you subconsciously push it away or mishandle it. It's like saying, I want wealth, but feeling fear every time you look at your bank account. The emotional signal is stronger than the verbal desire. Wealth consciousness is different. Wealth consciousness means you think like someone who expects opportunities. It doesn't mean ignoring current numbers. It means refusing to emotionally anchor yourself to them. For example, if you receive a bill, instead of thinking, there goes my money, you think, I'm grateful I had the ability to pay for this service. That subtle shift matters. Gratitude signals sufficiency. Sufficiency attracts expansion. Oprah Winfrey has repeatedly spoken about practicing gratitude early in her career, even when she didn't have much. She didn't focus on what was missing. She focused on what was possible. That mindset shaped her confidence, her decisions, and ultimately the empire she built. Gratitude didn't replace hard work. It aligned it. Gratitude for money is one of the most powerful frequency shifts you can practice. And yes, it can feel awkward if you're stressed financially, but start small. Be grateful for the money you do have, grateful for the ability to earn, grateful for skills, connections, ideas. When you appreciate money, you stop treating it like an enemy. Another practical tool is visualization of financial freedom. Close your eyes and imagine your ideal financial situation. Not just the number, the lifestyle. Are you debt-free, investing, traveling, supporting your family, funding your passions? Feel the relief, feel the confidence, feel the stability. Your brain responds to imagined experiences as if they are real. That emotional rehearsal builds familiarity. When financial opportunities show up, they won't feel foreign or intimidating. They'll feel aligned. Jim Carrey visualized financial success long before he received it. He didn't wait to feel worthy until the money arrived. He trained his emotional state to match his vision. Over time, his actions followed that belief. Now let's talk about acting from abundance. Acting from abundance does not mean reckless spending or pretending you're wealthy when you're not. It means making decisions from confidence rather than fear. It means investing in learning instead of saying, I can't. It means networking instead of hiding. It means asking for the raise instead of assuming rejection. Scarcity hesitates. Abundance moves. In business and career, this is critical. If you operate from scarcity, you underprice your services, avoid negotiation, and doubt your ideas. If you operate from abundance, you communicate value clearly. You see collaboration instead of competition. You focus on creating impact.
and income follows impact. Think about Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. She started with a clear vision and belief in her product, even when she had little experience. She didn't let fear of rejection stop her from pitching to manufacturers. That abundance mindset, believing in value before external validation, helped her build a billion-dollar company. Now here's something practical you can apply today. When you check your bank account, instead of reacting emotionally, pause and breathe. Say, "This is temporary. I am expanding." That statement may feel bold at first, but repetition rewires belief. Create a wealth folder, digital or physical, where you write down financial wins no matter how small. A discount you received, a new client inquiry, a compliment at work. This trains your brain to notice evidence of expansion. Another powerful practice, give, even in small amounts. Generosity signals abundance. It tells your subconscious there's enough to share. That energy shifts your relationship with money from fear to flow. Let's also address something important. Manifestation doesn't replace strategy. If you want wealth, you still build skills, you still create value, you still take action. But when those actions are fueled by abundance instead of anxiety, they carry confidence. The law of attraction doesn't respond to neediness, it responds to alignment. If you desperately chase money, you communicate lack. If you confidently create value, you attract exchange. So ask yourself, what is my current financial frequency? Do I feel tension when I think about money or possibility? Because wealth begins in consciousness. When you shift internally, you begin noticing ideas, partnerships, solutions that were invisible before. And here's the empowering truth. You are not defined by your current bank balance. You are defined by your dominant beliefs and decisions. Change those, and the numbers follow. Financial abundance is not reserved for a lucky few. It flows toward clarity, gratitude, confidence, and aligned action. So as you move forward, stop rehearsing debt. Start rehearsing prosperity. Stop speaking lack. Start speaking expansion. Stop reacting in fear. Start acting in belief. Because when your mindset shifts from scarcity to abundance, you don't just attract money, you become the kind of person money is naturally drawn to. And that is true wealth.
Love is not something you chase. It's something you align with. Most people think attracting love is about finding the right person. But according to the law of attraction, it starts with becoming the right frequency. You attract who you are, not what you say you want. That can feel confronting at first. If someone says, "Why do I keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners?" the law of attraction gently asks, where might you be emotionally unavailable to yourself? It's not about blame. It's about awareness. Relationships mirror us. They reflect our beliefs, our expectations, and our self-concept. If you believe deep down that love is unstable, you may unconsciously choose partners who confirm that belief. If you believe you're not worthy of devotion, you might tolerate less than you deserve. Your emotional frequency becomes the filter through which you select and interpret relationships. That's why self-love is the foundation. And no, self-love isn't just bubble baths and affirmations in the mirror. Although if that helps, go for it. Self-love is self-respect. It's the way you talk to yourself internally. It's whether you keep promises to yourself. It's whether you allow boundaries. If you constantly criticize yourself, your emotional frequency lowers. You become insecure. You overanalyze texts. You tolerate behavior you wouldn't advise your best friend to accept. But when you cultivate genuine appreciation for who you are, strengths, flaws, growth, and all, your standards naturally rise. You don't beg for love, you align with it. Think about Jennifer Lopez, who has openly spoken about learning to value herself before entering healthier relationships later in life. She didn't just manifest a partner, she manifested a different dynamic by evolving her self-worth. The shift wasn't about luck, it was about alignment. Now let's talk about one of the biggest relationship mistakes people make with the law of attraction, focusing on what they dislike. If you constantly say, "I don't want someone controlling, I don't want drama, I don't want someone lazy," your mind is rehearsing those qualities. Remember, the law of attraction responds to focus, not grammar.
If your emotional energy is centered on negative traits, you keep noticing them. Instead, shift to clarity about what you do want. I want a partner who communicates openly. I want respect. I want shared growth. The emotional difference is powerful. When you focus on qualities you value, you tune yourself to recognize them. Relationship intention setting is one of the most practical tools here. Write down the kind of relationship you desire. Not just physical traits, but emotional dynamics. How do you feel around this person? Calm? Supported? Inspired? Do you laugh often? Do you solve problems together? Get specific. Specificity creates clarity. Clarity guides selection. And here's the important part. Become those qualities yourself. If you want emotional maturity, practice emotional maturity. If you want honesty, practice honesty. If you want loyalty, embody loyalty. Because you attract who you are. Now let's expand this beyond romantic love. Emotional harmony applies at work and at home too. Have you ever noticed that when you walk into work already irritated, everyone seems extra annoying? But when you walk in calm and confident, interactions feel smoother. That's frequency at play. You're not controlling others, you're influencing the emotional environment through your state. If you want harmony at work, visualize positive interactions before meetings. Imagine conversations flowing smoothly. Feel respect and collaboration. When you carry that expectation, your tone changes, your body language softens, and people respond differently. At home, the same principle applies. Instead of focusing on what family members aren't doing, appreciate what they are doing. Gratitude shifts tension. Appreciation multiplies harmony. Will Smith has spoken about the importance of personal growth within relationships, how self-awareness and responsibility shape partnership dynamics. While public narratives may evolve, the principle remains true. When individuals grow, relationships transform. Now let's get concrete. If you're currently single and want to manifest love, start by becoming emotionally available. Heal old resentment. Forgive past partners, not for them, but for your frequency. Holding on to anger keeps you aligned with the past. Releasing it opens space for something new. If you're in a relationship and want improvement, stop rehearsing complaints mentally. Start rehearsing appreciation. That doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means leading with what works. Here's a daily technique. Every night, write down 3 things you appreciate about your partner, or, if single, about yourself. This trains your mind to focus on positive attributes rather than flaws. Over time, this changes emotional tone. Another technique is mirror work. Stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am worthy of healthy love." It might feel awkward at first. You may even laugh, but repetition reshapes belief, and belief influences attraction. Remember, love is a high-frequency emotion. When you feel love for friends, family, pets, life, you elevate your vibration. That elevated state attracts more loving experiences. Here's something empowering. You don't need another person to feel love. You generate it internally. And when you generate it internally, you magnetize it externally. Relationships are not meant to complete you. They reflect you. So if you want harmony, cultivate peace within. If you want passion, cultivate enthusiasm within. If you want commitment, commit to your own growth first. Because when you shift internally, your external relationships respond. And here's the emotional truth to carry forward. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are aligning to attract. Love is not scarce. Harmony is not rare. Emotional connection is not reserved for others. When you become the frequency of respect, appreciation, and self-worth, you naturally draw in people who resonate at that level. So instead of asking, "Where is my love?" start asking, "Am I being the love I want to receive?" Shift that, and everything changes. And when you align with love, real, grounded, self-aware love, you don't just attract better relationships, you create them.
Let's begin gently, because this topic deserves respect. Your health is sacred. Your body is intelligent. And while the law of attraction teaches that thoughts influence reality, this chapter is not about blaming yourself for illness or pretending that positive thinking replaces medical care. It's about understanding the powerful connection between mind, emotion, and physical vitality, and how belief can become a partner in healing. Your body responds to thought, not metaphorically, biologically. When you think a stressful thought, your brain releases stress hormones. Your heart rate shifts, your muscles tighten, your immune system suppresses. If you've ever received bad news and instantly felt your stomach drop, you've experienced how quickly thought becomes physical sensation. On the other hand, when you feel joy, gratitude, or love, your body relaxes, breathing deepens, healing processes activate. That's not mystical, that's physiology. Stress operates on a low, contracted frequency. Healing operates on a calm, open frequency. Chronic stress keeps the nervous system in fight-or-flight mode, and while that response is useful if you're running from danger, it's exhausting when activated by daily worry about finances, relationships, or health itself. When someone constantly thinks, "I'm getting sick," or "my body is weak," the emotional tone of fear reinforces tension. The body listens. Now here's where empowerment begins. The body also listens to hope. Visualization of wellness is one of the core techniques in this chapter. Athletes use it. Surgeons study its effects. The idea is simple. Mentally rehearse your body functioning optimally. Imagine cells repairing. Imagine energy flowing. Imagine strength returning. When you visualize healing, you reduce stress hormones and increase positive emotional states that support recovery. Muhammad Ali famously declared, "I am the greatest," long before the world crowned him champion. That wasn't arrogance, it was identity rehearsal. He mentally embodied strength before physical results confirmed it. While athletic performance differs from medical healing, the underlying principle is the same. Belief shapes physiology and behavior. Another powerful example is Jim Carrey, who has openly spoken about using visualization early in his career, writing himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and holding that vision consistently. That belief shaped his actions, confidence, and opportunities. In health, similar mental rehearsal builds resilience and motivation to care for the body. Now let's talk about emotional causes of imbalance, carefully and responsibly. Emotions themselves are not diseases, but unresolved emotions can contribute to stress patterns. Long-term resentment, guilt, anger, or chronic fear create tension in the body. When people hold on to emotional pain for years, the body carries that burden. That doesn't mean illness is your fault. It means emotional release is part of wellness. Forgiveness, for example, isn't about approving harmful behavior. It's about freeing your nervous system from constant stress activation. When you forgive, you reduce internal pressure. Your body relaxes. Think about the difference between holding a grudge and letting it go. One feels heavy, one feels light. Healing thrives in lightness. Now let's move into practical application. Start with daily health affirmations, but not robotic repetition. Speak statements that feel believable and calming. Instead of forcing, "I am perfectly healthy," if that feels unrealistic, try, "My body knows how to heal," or "Every day I am getting stronger." The goal is alignment, not denial. Pair affirmations with action. If you affirm vitality but ignore sleep, nutrition, and movement, you create contradiction. The law of attraction works best when belief and behavior align. Inspired action, like choosing nourishing food or committing to regular movement, reinforces belief. Visualization can be practiced for 5 minutes daily. Sit quietly. Breathe slowly. Picture your body filled with light or energy. See yourself engaging in activities you enjoy, walking, laughing, working with focus. Feel gratitude for small improvements. And here's something simple yet powerful. Monitor your language. Avoid constantly saying, "I'm always tired," or "I have a terrible immune system." Words reinforce identity. Shift to, "I'm improving my energy," or "I'm learning how to support my health better." It may feel small, but repetition shapes subconscious belief. Stress recovery techniques are equally important.
If you catch yourself spiraling into health anxiety, pause, take one slow breath, place your hand on your chest, and tell yourself, I am safe in this moment. That 30-second interruption can prevent prolonged stress activation. Meditation also plays a role. Even 10 minutes a day reduces cortisol levels and improves immune response. You don't need incense or chanting, just quiet focus on breath. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. That act of returning builds mental discipline and emotional calm. Let's add a touch of real-life humor here. If WebMD has ever convinced you that a mild headache means something catastrophic, you know how imagination can escalate fear quickly. That same imagination, when guided intentionally, can calm rather than alarm. Belief doesn't replace professional care. It enhances your body's response to it. Work with doctors, follow medical advice, and simultaneously cultivate a mindset of resilience. The two can coexist beautifully. The most empowering shift in this chapter is responsibility without guilt. You are not to blame for past illness, but you are powerful in shaping your present state of mind, and that state influences your energy, your habits, and your recovery potential. When you wake up, instead of scanning your body for problems, scan it for gratitude. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for my heartbeat. Thank you for my mobility. Gratitude changes emotional chemistry. Emotional chemistry influences physical chemistry. Your body is not your enemy, it's your partner. It has been fighting for you since the day you were born, repairing cells, regulating systems, adapting constantly. When you shift from fear to cooperation, from criticism to appreciation, healing becomes more accessible. And here's the uplifting truth to carry forward. Vitality is not only the absence of illness, it is the presence of energy, purpose, and emotional balance. When you believe your body is capable of strength, you treat it with respect. When you believe improvement is possible, you notice progress. When you believe healing is supported, you reduce resistance. So speak to your body kindly, visualize wellness consistently, release emotional weight gradually, act in alignment with health daily. Because when belief, emotion, and action harmonize, you create a powerful environment for vitality. And that's not magic, that's alignment.
Let's zoom out for a moment. Up until now, we've been talking about your thoughts, your money, your relationships, your health, your personal reality. But this chapter stretches the lens wider and asks a powerful question. If thoughts shape individual experience, what happens when millions of thoughts move in the same direction? What is collective consciousness, and how does your personal frequency influence the world around you? Here's the foundational idea. Energy multiplies when it's shared. Collective consciousness is simply the combined emotional and mental energy of a group. Families have it, workplaces have it, cities have it, nations have it. You've felt it before. Walk into a tense room and you immediately sense something's off, even before anyone speaks. Walk into a joyful celebration and you feel lighter instantly. That's collective emotional frequency at work. Now, here's where the law of attraction becomes bigger than personal success. What you focus on contributes to that shared energy field. If millions of people focus on fear, division, outrage, and catastrophe, that frequency strengthens. If millions focus on compassion, solutions, and collaboration, that frequency strengthens instead. This is where news consumption becomes important. Let's be honest, most modern news cycles are designed to grab attention, and fear grabs attention fast. If you start your morning scrolling headlines about crisis after crisis, your nervous system activates before you've even had coffee. You feel stress about things outside your control. And if that becomes a daily habit, you carry low-level anxiety into your interactions. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means being conscious of what you emotionally feed on. If you constantly say, "The world is getting worse," your perception filters for evidence that confirms that belief. You notice negativity more. You talk about it more. That conversation spreads. That energy ripples. But if you say, "There are challenges, but there are also solutions," your mind begins noticing progress, innovation, kindness. You talk about those.
That spreads too. You don't change the world by obsessing over what you hate about it. You influence it by embodying what you want to see more of. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't manifest change by constantly rehearsing hatred toward injustice. He focused on a vision, equality, dignity, unity. He spoke about the dream. That vision rallied collective belief. His clarity and emotional conviction created a ripple that shifted consciousness nationwide. He understood that energy directed toward possibility mobilizes people far more effectively than energy stuck in resentment. Being a positive frequency leader doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing your response intentionally. It means when conversations spiral into constant complaining, you gently redirect toward solutions. It means you model calm during chaos. Think about someone in your life who stays grounded when everyone else panics. Their presence alone stabilizes the room. That's leadership through frequency. And here's the empowering part. You don't need a global platform to influence collective consciousness. Your influence begins in your home, your workplace, your circle. When you choose gratitude in a meeting instead of criticism, that shifts tone. When you respond with patience instead of snapping in traffic, yes, even in traffic, you interrupt negativity's chain reaction. And if you've ever yelled at another driver who can't hear you, you already know that doesn't improve global harmony. The ripple effect principle is simple. Every thought, word, and action sends energy outward. Imagine dropping a stone into a still lake. The ripples move outward far beyond the initial splash. Your mood does the same. If you wake up irritated and carry that irritation into your conversations, it spreads subtly. If you wake up centered and carry that into your interactions, that spreads too. Oprah Winfrey has often spoken about intentionally focusing her platform on stories of empowerment and growth rather than constant sensational negativity. By amplifying hope and possibility, she influenced millions to think differently about their own potential. That's collective energy directed consciously. Let's make this practical. First, become aware of how often you repeat negative narratives about the world. Notice phrases like, "people are terrible," or "nothing will ever change." Those statements reinforce powerlessness. Instead, speak possibility. There are good people doing important work. Solutions are emerging. Even if progress feels slow, belief in improvement fuels participation. Second, curate your information diet. You don't need to eliminate news entirely, but balance it. For every heavy headline you consume, seek out one story of innovation or kindness. Train your mind to hold both awareness and hope. Third, model the energy you want multiplied. If you want more respect in society, show respect in daily interactions. If you want more unity, practice understanding in disagreements. If you want more generosity, give generously. Time, attention, resources. Here's a bit of grounded humor. The world doesn't improve because we argue in comment sections at midnight. It improves when we improve how we show up offline. Now, let's bring this back to manifestation in a YouTube-friendly, practical sense. If you're building a business, creating content, leading a team, your emotional tone becomes the culture. If you constantly emphasize problems, your audience feels drained. If you focus on solutions and empowerment, your audience feels energized. That's collective manifestation in action. The law of attraction works individually, but it scales collectively. When groups align around shared vision, shared gratitude, shared belief, momentum builds faster than isolated effort. And here's the uplifting truth. You are not powerless in shaping the world. You are a node in the network of consciousness. Every choice you make contributes to the whole. When you choose calm over chaos, you add calm. When you choose hope over despair, you add hope. When you choose compassion over judgment, you add compassion. Multiply that by millions of individuals making similar choices, and cultural shifts occur. Manifesting a better world doesn't start in government buildings. It starts in living rooms. It starts in daily conversations. It starts in your internal dialogue. So instead of asking, "Why is the world like this?" start asking, "What frequency am I contributing?" Because collective energy is not abstract. It's built moment by moment, interaction by interaction. And when you commit to being a positive frequency leader, not perfect, not naive, but intentional, you become part of a ripple that extends far beyond what you can see. That is how manifestation scales. That is how consciousness evolves.
And that is how one aligned individual quietly helps shape a better world.
Let's start with a bold but freeing idea. You are not here to react to life. You are here to design it. That might sound dramatic at first, especially if life has thrown you curveballs, setbacks, or situations you absolutely did not order like an online package. But this chapter is about reclaiming authorship. It's about moving from passive participant to conscious creator. Most people live as responders. Something happens and they react. The economy shifts and they panic. Someone criticizes them and they shrink. An opportunity appears and they hesitate because they don't see themselves as that kind of person. But manifestation at its deepest level is not about changing circumstances first. It's about changing identity. Personal responsibility is the foundation here. And let's be clear, responsibility is not blame. Responsibility means responsibility, the ability to choose your response. You may not control every event, but you absolutely influence your interpretation, your emotional frequency, and your next move. When you adopt personal responsibility, something powerful happens. You stop waiting. You stop waiting for permission, for validation, for perfect timing, for someone else to change. You begin asking, who do I need to become to create what I want? Self-concept is the hidden engine behind manifestation. Your self-concept is the story you believe about yourself. It answers questions like, am I capable? Am I lucky? Am I worthy? Am I disciplined? Am I attractive? Am I successful? If your self-concept says, I'm bad with money, then even if you manifest an opportunity, you may mismanage it. If your self-concept says, I'm not leadership material, you'll subconsciously shrink when responsibility appears. The law of attraction aligns with identity more than desire. That's why identity-based manifestation works. Instead of saying, I want to be wealthy, you ask, who is the version of me who handles wealth wisely? Instead of, I want to be fit, you ask, how does a healthy person think daily? Instead of, I want a loving relationship, you ask, how does someone who feels loved behave? This is not about pretending, it's about rehearsing alignment. Arnold Schwarzenegger visualized himself as a champion bodybuilder and successful actor long before either became reality. He didn't wait for evidence to confirm his identity, he adopted the identity first. That identity shaped his habits, discipline, and confidence. The results followed. Here's the psychological logic. Your brain filters information based on identity. If you believe you are resilient, you interpret challenges as temporary. If you believe you are unlucky, you interpret setbacks as confirmation. Same event, different identity, different outcome. Now, let's address something important, the victim mindset. A victim mindset says, this always happens to me. It focuses on external causes exclusively. It may feel justified in the moment, but it strips power. When you believe you are at the mercy of circumstances, you stop looking for influence points. Being a creator doesn't mean denying real difficulties. It means refusing to let them define you. For example, Oprah Winfrey faced significant adversity early in life. If she had adopted a permanent victim identity, her story would have stopped there. Instead, she chose to see herself as someone capable of growth and impact. That shift in identity changed the trajectory of her life. Here's a practical way to understand this. Imagine two people lose a job. One thinks, I'm unlucky. This proves I'm not good enough. The other thinks, this is redirection. I'm capable of better. The second person will network differently, apply differently, show up differently. Identity shapes action. Action shapes results. So, how do you consciously design identity? Start with auditing your self-talk. What phrases do you repeat about yourself? I procrastinate, I'm always late, I'm awkward. Those may feel harmless, even humorous, but repetition cements identity. Shift to growth-oriented language. I'm becoming more disciplined. I'm learning to manage my time. I'm improving my communication. That subtle change signals expansion. Next, practice identity visualization. Don't just visualize outcomes, visualize yourself as the person who already embodies those outcomes. See yourself making confident decisions. See yourself handling challenges calmly. Feel that state. And here's a little grounded humor. If you keep telling yourself you're bad with mornings, don't be surprised when your alarm clock feels like a personal enemy. Identity influences behavior more than motivation does. You are not a victim of the law of attraction. You are a participant in it. You are not stuck with your past identity. Identity is constructed through repetition, and repetition can change. Think of it this way. If life is a building, your beliefs are the blueprint. You don't blame the walls for the design, you revise the blueprint. Being the architect of your reality means asking empowering questions. What belief created this pattern? What identity am I reinforcing daily? Who do I choose to become now? And when you answer those honestly, you begin to see options where you previously saw limits. In business, identity-based manifestation is critical. If you see yourself as just starting, you may undercharge, undermarket, underlead. But if you adopt the identity of a value creator, your posture changes. Clients respond differently. In relationships, if you see yourself as the one who always gets left, you may unconsciously expect abandonment. But if you adopt the identity of someone worthy of commitment, your standards and behavior shift. In health, if you identify as someone who struggles, you may avoid effort. If you identify as someone who prioritizes wellness, small habits become natural. This chapter ultimately reinforces one truth. You are not here by accident, drifting aimlessly. You are here with creative power. Personal responsibility is empowering because it means you are not trapped. Self-concept is powerful because it can evolve. Identity-based manifestation works because behavior aligns with belief. You are not the victim of your past. You are not defined by yesterday's results. You are not limited to old stories. You are the architect. And architects don't complain about blueprints. They redraw them. So, as you move forward, stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what am I creating next? Because when you consciously design identity, align thought with belief, and take action from that aligned place, reality begins to reorganize around you. Not because of magic, but because you changed the source. And the source is you.
Take a deep breath with me for a second. You've just walked through the principles of the law of attraction, manifestation techniques, emotional alignment, wealth consciousness, health, relationships, identity shift, and now we arrive at the most important question of all. What happens tomorrow morning? Because manifestation is not a one-time visualization session. It's not a vision board you look at once and forget. It's a lifestyle. It's a daily awareness. It's a way of thinking, feeling, and responding that becomes automatic over time. Let's bring everything back to the core formula. Thought to feeling to frequency to reality. Every thought you think creates a feeling. That feeling carries a frequency. That frequency influences your actions, your decisions, your posture, your tone, your confidence. And over time, that becomes your reality. If you think, I'm behind in life, you feel stress. Stress carries tension. Tension affects your decisions. If you think, I am capable of growth, you feel possibility. Possibility carries openness. Openness changes how you show up. That chain reaction is happening all day long, whether you're conscious of it or not. And here's the empowering part. You can interrupt and redirect it at any moment. Living the manifestation lifestyle daily means becoming aware of your thoughts without obsessing over them. It means asking simple questions throughout your day. What am I focusing on right now? Does this thought move me toward what I want or away from it? How do I want to feel instead? This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about intentional direction. You don't deny challenges. You choose your dominant focus. Think about Dwayne Johnson, who has spoken openly about facing setbacks and rejection early in his career. He didn't pretend obstacles didn't exist, but he consistently reinforced belief in his work ethic and vision. Over time, that identity and emotional frequency aligned with opportunity. Belief didn't replace effort, it powered it. That's the lifestyle. You don't wake up and hope the universe guesses what you want. You clarify it. You align emotionally with it. You act in harmony with it. Here's what daily practice can look like in real life. In the morning, Before touching your phone, take 60 seconds to set intention. Ask, what kind of energy am I bringing into today? Visualize one successful interaction. Feel gratitude in advance. During the day, monitor emotional dips. If frustration rises, pause. Breathe. Shift your focus to one thing going right. That micro-adjustment protects your frequency. At night, reflect briefly. What thoughts dominated today? What did you attract? What can you refine tomorrow? Manifestation is refinement, not perfection. And let's add a little grounded humor here. If you accidentally manifest a long line at the coffee shop because you're impatient and thinking this always takes forever, don't panic. Just notice it. Awareness itself is growth. Reinforcing belief is essential. Doubt will visit. It always does. The goal isn't to eliminate doubt entirely. It's to reduce its authority. When doubt whispers, "This won't work," you respond, "I'm still learning." That's why affirmation sequences matter, not as magical chants, but as identity reinforcement. Try this sequence daily. I am responsible for my energy. I choose thoughts that empower me. I align my feelings with success. I act with confidence and clarity. I trust that what I focus on expands. I am attracting opportunities every day. I am becoming the best version of myself. Say them slowly. Mean them. Adjust them to fit your voice. Repetition programs the subconscious, and subconscious belief shapes automatic behavior. Living this way also means surrounding yourself with supportive input, books, podcasts, conversations that elevate your thinking. If you constantly feed your mind fear, you reinforce fear. If you feed it growth, you reinforce growth. Manifestation is not passive wishing. It is conscious participation. You think intentionally. You feel intentionally. You act intentionally. And when you combine belief with action, something powerful happens. Confidence grows, and confidence attracts opportunity faster than hesitation ever could. Here's the emotional truth I want you to carry forward. You are not waiting for life to start. You are not preparing endlessly for some future moment. You are not stuck in yesterday's identity. Your life begins now. Right now, in this breath, in this thought, in this decision. If you've been searching for a Law of Attraction audiobook, a manifestation audiobook summary, practical manifestation techniques for wealth, health, love, and success, understand that the knowledge only works when applied consistently. The universe responds to clarity and emotional alignment, not occasional motivation. So, as you leave this chapter and close this audiobook, don't just feel inspired, feel activated. Decide who you are becoming. Decide what you are focusing on. Decide how you will show up tomorrow. Because manifestation isn't about controlling the universe. It's about mastering your internal state so consistently that your external world begins to reflect it. And if this summary added value to you, if it shifted your thinking even slightly, take a second to like this video, share it with friends and family who need encouragement, and subscribe to CliffNote Chronicles for upcoming audiobook summaries on the Law of Attraction and personal growth. Your support helps this message reach more people who are ready to grow. And before you go, I want you to type this in the comments, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. I am learning and growing every day. Write it, see it, own it, because the moment you consciously choose growth, the moment you align thought with belief, the moment you step into responsibility, that's the moment manifestation becomes real. Your life begins now.